Welcome back to another episode of Evolving Through Experience. Y'all know we got a special guest on. Like I said, all my guests are special, but we got my bro Chris Simmons in the building. What up, Chris?
The content king.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, bro.
You gotta talk to me nice.
Chris, the content king. And we will have his girl on, Zayla, the content queen.
For sure.
Yeah, but how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great. Getting to it, just trying to get my hunger back and expand and scale.
Okay, I like that. I'm glad you said your hunger back. What makes you feel like you lost it?
I feel like complacency sets in. So if you go from I remember my last job making like $2,000 a month, and then you have a dream of getting to like X amount, and then when you get there, you just get comfortable, and then it's like you just got to figure out like the next wins and the next level, and you got to realize that the middle class is the most comfortable place that you could be, and that's where a lot of people die.
Makes sense. Well, I'm glad you started off like that. I appreciate the transparency. That's not even how I planned on starting it off. But hey, look, I love it, bro, because this is Evolving Through Experience. So that's what we're here to talk about, growth in every aspect, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and beyond. So you really started it off perfectly. But before we continue, you remember how we met, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how we met?
We met at a networking event.
Okay, I want to speak about that because I think that's important. I wanted to bring that up just as obviously being in the right rooms, but also having something to add in those right rooms, if that makes sense. So I know we met. at a networking event. Did you approach me or I approached you first? I can't remember.
I approached y'all. So
you approached us. Okay.
Yeah. So what I do at networks events, I walk around, I scan and surveillance and everything like that. It was kind of like an older crowd, and whenever it's like an older crowd, the first thing I do, I look for the youngest people there, and then once I find the youngest people there, I was like, okay, that means that they have a similar mind frame and a similar drive that I have because they're here.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, bet it was you and Darian. And then Keon actually knew a girl there named Lauren. So we met Lauren first before you. And then she said she had a cleaning business. And then when I spoke to you, then you was like, oh, I have an Airbnb. And I was like, all right, bet I just met her. So then I was like, I just said,
connected the dots.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it is. And it's like I don't know how to describe it because it's like I don't approach everybody at a networking event. It's just like a vibe.
I don't think you should.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a vibe. And I feel like I'm a good judgment of character. So I was like, "You seem cool."
Yeah, or I just seem cool.
You seem cool.
Nah,
like, you give me weird vibes.
No, I got you. But with that being said, I know we connected even after that conversation just about the B&B. We started, I pretty much knew who you were because I always listened to EYL, obviously. So when you said Chris and then you said social media management, it kind of clicked because obviously they always saying your name on the episodes or whatnot. But when we first started speaking and we was connecting on IG, we found a similarity from there because I fast from social media. When I say fast, I limit it. Let's say that I limit my social media time. So I locked it so you have the same thing on your phone. So I just want to bring that in to social media. Even though you manage social media content for a lot of different people and brands, I just want to bring that in because I think people limiting themselves from social media, I think that's really helpful. And I want to speak about how does that help you as a person that's obviously handles, it's a priority for you to be on social media, but at the same time, you understand the balance of needing to be off social media.
Yeah, so the way I think a lot of people should approach life is if you have a goal, you should look at everything outside of your goal as distractions. Everybody is trying to get your attention. Everybody's trying to sell you something. So it's like a lot of stimulus going on at the same time. And it's like those stimuluses on social media, playing games, doing those types of things, it what's the word I want to use? It messes up your nervous system to make you feel like you're getting rewarded. But I want my dopamine to hit when I'm making money, when I'm being productive. So it's like even with like the posts and the likes and things like that, if I didn't have a social media management company, I would not be on social media. If I didn't have a business, if I wasn't a business owner, if I wasn't generating revenue from it, I wouldn't be on it because it's the biggest time consuming. Like the iPhone is the most addictive technology of all time. So that's why I limit it because I understand I need to focus. And I could just feel myself get like brain fog when I'm on social media for more than an hour.
Yeah. Even from getting up, like, and I'm guilty of doing that before. Like I said, even like before
You be scrolling.
Nah, but I'm saying beforehand, before I locked it, like pretty much put a limit on it, I would catch myself beforehand. Even if I still know I'm gonna be productive that day, like the first thing I check out is social media. Like cutting that out early in the morning, like it's best to just avoid that until you actually fully wake up all the way around and pretty much get your mind together. So with somebody that's not in that headspace or have yet to reach that, what advice could you give them to be like, look, stay away from social media for this amount of time or whatever? Like you said, obviously, even if it's not even from a business standpoint, or even if it is from a business standpoint, how could you help somebody pretty much give them game on how they could limit themselves from being distracted by social media on a daily basis?
I'll set timers on it to remind them about it, but I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but at the end of the day, it's either you do it or you don't. So it's like, it's no motivational words that I can ever say until you wake up one day and you realize you scrolled away 4 years of your life and now you're 25 years old, 26 years old. You still haven't figured out your career or business that you wanted to start. And all of your peers are starting to push away and create space and create distance. You're still in the same spot, in the same location that you was 5 years prior. You're not going to stop. And then until change hurts less than staying the same, you will never change. That's how I look at it.
No, say less. Well, I want to go back to, I know you said at the beginning you was on the fast, so you didn't say it here. Let's talk about that, and then we'll go to, obviously you was talking about you was working at your previous job or whatnot, how you started off, but let's start there first.
Yeah, I'm on a fast right now, so 2 days, nothing, and then the rest of the 5 days is going to be a great fast. Last time I was on a fast, I just felt like my senses clear up. Also, whenever I work out and I'm like eating better, like my great ideas come. Whenever I'm in a situation where what do I want to say? Like not working out consistently. Whenever I'm in a situation where I'm doing a lot of like degenerate low level activities, my great ideas don't come. My best ideas come from when I'm running, when I'm working out at the gym, in those types of situations. So I'm trying to find that because I'm prepping and I'm gearing up for InvestFest. So when I'm coming up with these product offerings and doing everything like that, I need to be like the highest form.
No, I'm glad you said that. So that also, obviously that would go in with you feeling like you somewhat lost your hunger, getting complacent to some degree, so you decided to do the fast? Or it goes hand in hand?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. So the way I look at myself, and I've noticed this since I was like younger, and I was like always a kid where I didn't need to like study and do all of that extracurricular stuff to get like an A or a B on a test. And it created a habit inside of myself with not reaching my full capacity because my 40% capacity was good enough to pass and be like considered exceptional. So I never had to take an extra step to try to be great. And like I felt like the biggest change I've ever had in my life is when I actually like was focused and driven. And it wasn't even for that long of a time period. So now I'm thinking to myself, what would I look like in 20 years if I was focused and driven and had one goal, one mission? What type of person would I want to be? And it's like, I realized I wasn't like a money motivated type of person. Like buying things doesn't motivate me, but the idea of what I have to, the type of person I have to become a 100 millionaire or a billionaire, I want to know what type of work do I need to do to become that. And that's kind of like what drives me. Cause like I'm and I also strive for freedom too. But like even once you get to a point before a billion where you have freedom. So it's like, what do you have after you reach that point?
And what is freedom too? I think that's a conversation we can have because freedom is different for everybody. What let me ask you, what is freedom for you first?
Can I curse or no?
Yeah, curse, but keep it to a limited. Because I don't want people.
It's a sense of fuck you money. Like, so it's like you, no matter what, it's like you have a boss. F you. You need to move your car. F you. Like it's a sense of like safety and security, right? And it's like it's only like a couple people. Like it's only 3 entrepreneurs. And I forgot what book I read about this, but it's like freedompreneur. So like their main goal, their main driving force is freedom. That's like 90% of entrepreneurs. Then it's other entrepreneurs that they focus on mastering their craft. They're craftsmen and they care about like strictly being the best or the greatest at something. And that's what they care about the most. And that's what drives them. So freedom drives them. perfecting their craft drives them. And the last one are the top performers, the people who are like the Bill Gates, the Elons, and the Jeff Bezos. It is the mountain climbers. They want to be the first to be something. They want to like get to the very top of the pinnacle of human existence. And that's why you could see like just a regular man, just like everybody else. I want to colonize Mars. A freedompreneur doesn't do that. Somebody who wants to master the craft, they don't do that. So it's those types of three entrepreneurs, and I think I'm more so of a freedompreneur, wanting to try to get to the pinnacle of climbing that mountaintop.
Okay, and just before I continue, the reason I say on You Can Curse because I think this goes hand in hand with evolving. I feel like we shouldn't be limited ourselves on what we want to say because at the end of the day, we're just nothing we can really sugarcoat. Like when you talking about different conversations and you talking about growth, it shouldn't be sugarcoated. Not saying, I know people say, oh, you can use a different choice of words. Yeah, you could, but if that's the choice you want to use today, that's the choice you should use. So I started off with people like trying to keep cursing to a limit. I don't think every single sentence have a curse word in it, but in the sense of, at the same time, who said cursing is bad?
Yeah.
Who put say, oh, no, you can't say that word. And then it's all the sugarcoating, and that's why people may not get it. I think more people are going to hear and listen to what you got to say now that you said a curse word, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of, look, that's how you wanted to express yourself. So back to the freedom part. The reason I asked that is because I'm glad you gave that analogy and pretty much broke it down how you read it in the book. But I feel like when I said freedom is a different point, obviously we know it's more than money. It's more of a time thing. I know you said it's the FU money, but it's bigger than the bread. It's more of like from a spiritual, mental, emotional place where you just like, you in a place of peace. But at the same time, I think in order to have that peace, you do have to have a balance on money as well. I think it's a combination of the different things that bring you freedom. It's not like, oh, you just got all the time in the world, but then you ain't got no money. You need the time, you need the money, you need the peace mentally, emotionally, and the love around you. So I think it's a balance on all of it that really brings freedom. But it's no wrong answer. It's whatever works for everybody else. It would matter what works for you.
Your definition of freedom is my definition of wealth. So like my definition of wealth is everything money can't buy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, agree. Yep.
So like, what do you have? Like, do your kids love you? Do your kids want to spend time with you? Do your parents love you? Are you healthy? It's like things that I judge somebody's when they say I'm wealthy by the things that money cannot buy.
Correct.
So
Agreed.
It's like when I think about freedom, though, I think about being able to be free. So it's like majority of people who have businesses and the majority of like business owners, they're not free. Like majority of times we just make a higher paying job for ourselves. And even the people who don't make a higher paying job for themselves, the more money you make, the more restricted you have. And then you got to get to a point where like that's where the FU money comes in. It's like when you currently have a company and you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you're a founder, right? You're still on the board. It's certain things that you can and can't say. It's certain things you can and you can't do. You can't say or do those things until you sell your company. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
agreed.
that's what I mean when I say, like, I'm talking about like, you didn't have a $200 million exit. Now you can start a media company and talk about anything you want to.
Yeah, agree.
Because you can't be silenced. You can't be canceled.
Okay, makes sense. I'm glad you said that. So now I want to just transition a little bit into evolving from your life. So give me an example. Obviously, I know some things, but whatever you feel comfortable talking about on like a main thing in experience in your life that pretty much has affected you for the better and made you grow to the person you are today, but also to the person you are going to be.
I probably say it's 4 pivotal changes that happened in my life.
Okay.
And the way that I look at like pain, trauma, and things like that, especially for like men, it's opportunity to be greater and be better. I look at like people as like a plate, right? When let's say you drop a glass plate and it breaks, it will never be the same, but you can put it back together. Or you could possibly make it back stronger, depending on the person that it is. Because at the end of the day, trauma is what like fuels and drives us. And I feel like every man on some level needs trauma to fuel us. And I think that we need to learn how to channel that. But I'll probably say, what it was, I'll probably say ninth. No, it wasn't 9th grade. It was 10th grade. 10th grade first. My brother, he got shot. He got paralyzed. And what it was, 10th grade. Then it was 2019. He was sentenced to 55 years. And
he did beat the paralyzation though?
Yeah, no. He started to walk, and as soon as he started to walk,
I'm glad
again,
you said that. Yeah.
Then he got sentenced. He got arrested, and then in 2019 he got sentenced. my best friend, he got killed when it was 2020, like August 2020, like right before his 21st birthday. And my one of my closest friends' brother, he had a heart condition that nobody knew about. And he'll always like have like little like things, and they used to tell him like he was dehydrated, but it's like one time like the doctor checked him and then his like potassium level was higher, but they didn't necessarily like say anything about it. And he ended up like suddenly passing away. But during the time period, it was during like the pandemic COVID. So
they labeled it as COVID.
No, they didn't label it as COVID. It just took 7 months for the autopsy to get back. So this whole time period, their family didn't know what happened. And so now picture like you're like nobody knows how you passed away. Now it's a whole bunch of bullshit rumors and everything like, oh, it's suicide. Like, no, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So it was like those three pivotal things each changed me to be like, I don't know. It's like I'm the type of person where I take accountability for everything, good or bad. And I feel like in certain situations, I feel like if I did this, I would have been there. And it's like I feel like nobody will understand. Like if somebody passed away close to you and you feel like you could have prevented their death, then you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And that's how I look at it. I feel like I'm the type of person I shoulder that type of pain and burden. And then like I'm just now recently in 2023 realizing that it's like
it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I probably say 2022 is when I had like the realization, but 2023 I'm getting to the point where it's like I just need to realize that, and this may sound weird, it's like a lot of people they think that their memory is to make them remember the past, but that's not what memory is for. And most people use memory for the wrong reason. Like they think about stuff and then they just keep thinking about it, and it's like a constant never-ending cycle of just re-traumatizing themselves. And that's not what memory is for. Memory is for not making the same mistake twice and just being able to like, but you're not supposed to recall and live in the past. You're supposed to live in the present, not even the future. You're supposed to like live in like the now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really more so getting into that and trying to use my memory, because I have a great memory. So I can remember all of the great things ever happen, and I can also remember all of the super bad things. I've never did any drugs or anything like that. So whenever I've been through anything, I've coped with it 100% myself. So I think that's what made me like mentally strong to get through it. And like those experiences motivated me. Like when you have stuff like that happen to you when you're like an adolescent and like early adult, me working 12, 15 hours ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, me like cold calling or me walking up to a stranger asking like, hey, do you want, like, I think that's why I'm fearless, because I've already had enough bullshit happen in real life to the point where it's like this business world is easy. It's literally no stakes. It's either I be broke or I get rich. The risk of reward is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that like it just made me like look at life and realize that you only literally live once, and when somebody's gone, they'll never be able to come back, and you never want to live with regret. So it made me like really just lock in and like play with house money, if you will say so.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because just to go back a little bit, like you said, the accountability, I think, like you said, and this is what I'm sure you agree with this too, but all men, really everybody, but for the sense of men, we have to take a different level of accountability. And I'm glad you said that, because we spoke about that before, of taking too much accountability. Like you said, good or bad, my fault or not my fault, is still some level of my accountability. If I'm involved in it, participated in any capacity, it's still some level of accountability there. But like I said, I also think to some degree now you obviously said you evolved and you are evolving to the point where it's like now you're in a place where you understand that's not your fault. But I think having those experiences is the part where most growth happens, like where you need to sometimes take over accountability, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fine delicate between taking complete control of accountability in your life and then checking your ego. Because why do you feel like you're important enough to affect this? And it's like, so I'm getting to the point where I'm just humbling myself. And it's like sometimes where it's like I'm a naturally very controlling person, but it comes from a good place of heart, because I'm the type of person, I want to control every environment so everybody I love will always be straight. So that is a very great motivating factor for why I do a lot of the things that I do. Because I want to be able to, like, let's say if I had a close friend, right? And they were like, damn, I need a house. I can't get approved for some shit. I want to be able to have so much money that it doesn't even matter if they pay me back. I just want to be making sure that everybody I love is cared for and doing all that type of things. And that's where it's like, it's an ego thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, like, why do you think you should be able to dictate everybody life?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a very hard thing. And it's like, sometimes it can be overbearing, but it comes from a good space.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because even right now I'm reading about that too. And like you said, it comes from a great space, but like you said, everybody you love. But then at what point do you realize you're spreading yourself thin, and it's just like, does this even bring you peace anymore? Like, you doing this for everybody, but at the end of the day, because you love them, but are you losing love for yourself and doing this at the same time because you're spreading yourself so thin, trying to make sure everybody else straight? But it's like, you kind of somewhat, at that point, to some degree, you could possibly losing yourself in a sense of like trying to make sure everybody else straight. But it's like, what about your own peace of mind?
I'll probably say, for me personally, I don't think it's that route. I think it's more so that it's a trauma response, because when I was young, I felt like I had no control over anything, and now I'm older and I want control over everything. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. So it's like, and I know we had a conversation. It's like, sometimes you need to just, like, anything that can fuel you, you need to use it, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the ends to me justifies the means sometimes, right? So it's like, if it's gonna make me productive, why not? But at the same time, I understand it can be overbearing. So it's like, Zayla does a great job with letting me know when it's too much, because she's like, I have people in my life that could check me, and she's the biggest person who could check me, because she knows me more than anybody else. And when she checked me, I understand that she understands, like, nah, I'm tripping. And sometimes I gotta, like, even if I'm doing something, like, all right, like, you just need that. And I think that that's another reason, like, that's my advantage.
Yeah.
I realized early on that I didn't want to play a field. I wanted somebody because that's not a life that I wanted. I wanted somebody because I actually wanted to build something. I wanted to build something I never had before. And I realized the best way to do that is to start a family, a black family, if that. Donations.
I was about to say Dr. Umar. Donations. I'm glad you said that, because I was going to transition to Zayla a little later, but I'm glad you said that. So first, how did you meet Zayla? Because I want to talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up now, but how did you meet Zayla?
So what happened was, her friend was talking to my friend. So she had came over her house because she was spending a night at her house.
So what you saying is you was dating a friend? Nah, I'm joking.
Nah,
I'm joking. Go ahead.
So she came over, and then, like, when she came over, like, she kind of was like, like, it's like standoffish. Like, cause they were supposed to go to the movies. She ended up going there. Like, we're young at the time, like 16, 17, right?
High school. Okay.
Yeah, high school. And then we were just like, we just started like making conversation or whatever. I did some childish things. I'm just like, but nah, like, yeah, no, we just started to speak, and then afterwards, she stayed kind of like 45 minutes away. She stayed in like Jonesboro. I stayed in South Fulton. So it wasn't like when we first started to talk with each other, we just had to text and FaceTime each other. So like the first time I met her, the next time I saw her I met her in January. The next time I saw her was in April. And then from April, the next time I saw her was like in August, September. So it was like those huge time periods where we just had to talk to each other. Like, no physical, no hugging, no kissing. So we had to actually build like a genuine bond. And I just learned this from I want to say Julian event, when he was like, it takes 50 hours.
It was 90. I remember 90 hours. Quality. Yeah,
90 hours of quality time to be a friend. So it's like, bro, picture you speaking to somebody every single day for 6 months straight without having to physically see them or touch them. So it's no lust with it. It's literally just speaking, communicating. One day we just had like a heart to heart. I think we were trauma dumping on each other. Actually, that's what really happened. And then
so trauma dumping brings relationships.
Yeah.
Word, okay. They gonna run with that one.
And we just was like trauma. Like, I go lie. At first, I think it was like initially a trauma bond. She told me the worst parts about her life. I told her the worst parts about my life. But this is like 7 months in. Yeah. And then from there, she was going through a lot of stuff, and I just felt like I wanted to help her as much as I could, and I did. And she helped me as much as she could. And that's how.
And that help came from a mental and spiritual aspect, in a sense of like pretty much giving you advice wise, or like
What her helping me or me helping her?
pretty much both ways though. Both ways.
I put up some money.
Oh, you put it was okay. So
I did everything.
Okay,
I did everything.
I'm glad you said that. I wanted to ask that because I think that's also could be men downfall, like trying to help everybody. Like obviously, it's a lot of great black women in the world, great women in the world. So it's like us men trying to save every single one. I think that could be a downfall. Obviously, that wasn't your case, but just in the sense of when you said you was helping her, I think putting it like it's being like pretty much saying what it was, how I think that was helpful.
Yeah, she didn't get a gift for the first year we dated.
She didn't get gifts?
We went with 50-50. Oh, the 50-50 boy. Everything 50-50 boy. 50-50 boy. So this is how she was, right? So she had like issues with her dad at the time period. Not gonna get into it. They're good now. Yeah. But she had niggas ain't shit mentality. Like all men are gonna treat me bad. At the end of the day. So it was like she was like one of those types of people because of the way that she was raised and conditioned, who was raising her in the household, right? So what happened was she would feel like her individuality would be her paying for her own stuff. So she was more so like paying for her own stuff. Like, I don't need you to have this because I don't want you to ever say like
hold up your head. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I saw that she had that mentality, right? So it's like as a man, you want to help somebody when you see that they don't want you because of the perceived money you had. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, at that time period, I felt like I had money, but I was broke as hell. Yeah. I was 17 years old, 18 years old. I had a job, but like majority of the people, they weren't making as much money as I was at my age. But in the grand scheme of things, I was broke as hell. So it's like, it wasn't nothing like for me to go over there. And then like once I learned how to drive and everything, I started going over there more and seeing her more and more and more. And then I started to actually like buy her stuff and things like that. But she was with me for a year before I ever buy anything. So I knew that it wasn't like you know what I'm saying? Like it was, she actually we had a bond. And then from there, it's like one thing about a man, and I know who you want.
I just want to say, don't buy them nothing for a whole year like Chris did.
Oh yeah. But now one thing I will say is like, bro, when we buy a gift for a woman, we just want them to appreciate it. Like no matter what it is. Like one thing about her, what I will say is, no matter what I get her, she's gonna appreciate it. She's gonna genuinely like, you cared enough to get me this. And at first, when we first got in a relationship, the bar was so low because she never really had anybody who gave her stuff. Like a lot of us didn't even like when it came down to Christmas time. Like, you know, like type people that like, I'm not waking up for Christmas because if I go on Instagram and I see everybody else get a gift and I don't have a gift, like it make people feel some type of way alienated, right? So it's like, that's how it was.
Makes sense.
So like I started to give her the types of things and give her the experiences that she never had. Like I put us on the first flight going to LA. That's the first time she ever got on a plane. That's the first time I ever got on a plane. We did a lot of first things. You know what I'm saying?
Together,
yeah. So like I taught her how to do this. I helped build her credit. I taught her to get like I'm talking about like real foundational pieces. I'm not talking about just more so just like on like, oh, I love you, I want to do this, you know, like not less. I'm talking about really actually building you to be the person that you want to be. Because you tell me this person that you want to be, my job is to show you all of the steps to do it and let you make that decision. But any resource you need, I'll be able to help you with it. And then as I go on my journey.
So with that being said, what is one way, not even just for men in general, but let's start this first. What was a vital experience that you and her had that made you realize, yeah, like this is the one? And then on top of that, what were some of the characteristics that she has helped you grown into as a man you are today?
One moment that she was the one?
Yeah. One experience or moment when you realized, yo, like, Zayla's the one for me. I know it's several of them because I know we spoke in the past, but just one you willing to share.
You want a funny one or a serious one?
Give us both.
All right, so we was in Panama, right? It was 2018 spring break. So we was in Panama. And in Panama, you know, they racist. I'm just saying they're not racist, but they're low-key racist. So they gave us wristbands for like to be in what is it? They give us wristbands to be in hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So
in and out. Okay.
So people don't come over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some shit happened where like the police came to our room and they had to check us, and if they found somebody who wasn't supposed to be there, who was gonna get kicked out of the hotel. Zayla was there. Everybody else had a wristband
except for her.
Yeah. So she was in there, right? So it was like a circle. So like let's say you walk in, it's a doorway, and it's a room on your left, and then the room goes into a bathroom, and then the bathroom goes into the hall. So this nigga walks in and starts to check. Yeah, he checks the bathroom. Zayla was in the bathroom. As he opening the door to the bathroom, she's leaving the door to go to the bedroom. As he goes to the bedroom, she leaving the coat, and then she runs out.
Word.
All my father was like, "Oh, she a rider, she a rider." But so like, if she didn't do that, we would have got kicked out. That's the funny part. A serious note. I don't know if it was just one singular moment. I would say it was to the point where I felt comfortable telling her everything, and it's like with me, it's like I'm a very hard person to actually like open up and be emotional with. So like, bro, she's been with me since 2017, right? To now. So everything that ever is bad happened, anytime I ever felt inadequate, anytime I ever beat myself up too much, she's always there. No matter if I was like my up seasons, my down seasons, when stuff happened with family, like she's always been there. So I think it was like a accumulation between those. Like, you've showed me at every obstacle that you're gonna be here, no matter what, no matter if we're living in a room together with, if she doesn't have no matter where we are, she's always been there. Like, I don't know how to just it's just like an accumulation of years being with somebody for 6 years. One day I was just like, oh yeah, she's the one.
No, that's what's up, bro. I'm glad you said that because I wanted. That's why I wanted to ask, so people, cause see, obviously everybody route is different on how they meet their girl, their wife, or whatever. But I'm glad you said that. Just obviously outside of just giving her flowers, but so people know like these are the characteristics. So let's say if you had to answer for her now, what were the things that obviously you already said it to some degree, but what was like one of the main pivotal things where you pretty much helped her grow and seeing her characteristics? Obviously outside of, you said the bar was low and you pretty much showed her like it was genuine, obviously, but what were outside of that like main things that made her realize like for you that you was it? Like,
I would try to build stuff that would not benefit me for her.
Mm.
So like she had a business, I would help her every day in her business. Before I ever had anything, I would take her to different places where she needed to go that had no benefit towards me. I would tell her to patch her relationships that had no benefits towards me. Because I realized that she wants to be the best version of herself, so I'm going to be there to make sure she is. I never try to change her. I only try to make her better.
But that is some degree that's changing,
it's
but
not
for the
changing.
better.
It's not changing because I'm not changing her core person. If she says she wants to be a more disciplined person, I'm going to try to figure out and help her become more disciplined. But at the same time, I realized that sometimes people just need to make a click by themselves. And that's why, like earlier, when I said what I said, I was like, when change is easier than staying the same, that's when people change. Majority of the time, people don't change. And it's just being there, like her support system. Like, she's never did nothing crazy, but like,
besides running from the cops. Nah,
she never
keep running, Zayla. Keep running.
She never did nothing crazy, but I will say it's like we both give each other grace to not be perfect. Like, we don't look at each other to be perfect. And like, she, to me, it felt like she always felt like she had to put up this like facade. And it's not like she's like a fake person, but she always felt like she had to be perfect. And I didn't let her. I let her be herself. That's what I'm saying. Like, I let her actually like speak her mind.
Yeah.
Because before I was with her, she was very easy to get taken advantage of, very reserved, not gonna say anything. Like she's gonna let anybody like walk over her, family, friends, everybody. I empowered her voice. I didn't tell her what to say. I just learned how to communicate. Like bro, you don't have to take that. You know you don't. Like the type of personality she has, she's a very agreeable, very open, creative person. They're the type of people to get taken advantage of, and they're also the type of person to grow resentment. So the biggest thing with her is always not to grow resentment for wanting to say things but not saying them. So I just learned her like personality type. I learned how she is and everything about her, and I just try to put the best things that I may think are good or she may think that's good. But also I give her opportunities to fail too.
Yeah, bro. I want to give you your flowers, bro. I know I give it to you all the time. I know, for like when we first started linking up, but just on record, I want to give you your flowers. Not just for that, because I learn from you too. I know we disagree on stuff as well.
Yeah, because you my woke partner. You my woke partner.
We disagree on a lot of things, but
partner.
it's still a matter of growth and productivity between it all, and I think that's healthy. So hearing you speak more about Zayla outside of that, just overall from our conversations, like I just want to give you your flowers for that. What does evolving through experience mean to you? And obviously, we know it's no wrong answer to that.
Well, actually, last time you told me my answer was wrong.
Okay, well, say it again. I don't remember. I do remember my fault. Okay. Well, go ahead. Let's hear it. Let's talk it out.
Through experience means to me, I feel like using your trauma to fuel you. And last time, the reason he disagreed with me is because he said it doesn't always have to be trauma. But it's like, to me, like,
it's levels to trauma.
A failure to me is the best opportunity, because like, let's say if you're a coach, right? If you win every game, you're not going to be able to coach your players because they're winning. So like, and I'll give you this example, right? I think LeBron is the GOAT, right? The reason I think LeBron is the GOAT is because he lost in 2011. The reason I say he's the GOAT because he lost in 2011, it may sound crazy to most people who are Jordan fans who say, oh, he lost in 2011, that means he can never be the GOAT. No, he lost in 2011. In that offseason, he had to become a different breed. Like, when you're that great, he doesn't never have to show his 100% full capacity because he's so good that he doesn't have to do it. And I'll give you another example. You remember when Kevin Love and Kyrie got hurt? And Bron averaged like 38, 12, and 10 in the finals against Golden State? You'll never see that LeBron again because will never be in that situation to the point where you have to do that again. And I feel like when you evolve through experiences, it's like those negative experiences are really what charges you, because they teach you the most lessons. You can't learn much about certain things. Certain things are different, but you can't learn much about business if you're only succeeding in business, because you're not failing.
Yeah, agree. So yeah, from that standpoint, I understand what you're saying. When I was saying trauma, like, it's levels to trauma, and trauma could be different things. Failure is not necessarily a trauma. Like, let's just say a boxer, right? You let's just say
trauma gets your head knocked down. I ain't gonna lie.
I know. Yeah, that's one example. But let's just say you learn about and you get hit like with some shit one day. Not necessarily meaning that's a trauma. It may be a failure you learned, but that's not necessarily a trauma. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Men need trauma though. I believe.
But not everything has to be trauma though. When you say I feel failure and trauma, yeah, I'm not saying everything doesn't have to be trauma though, bro.
Men need trauma.
But okay, I'm not knocking that. I'm saying everything doesn't have to be trauma. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying women don't need trauma though.
Okay.
They will break.
Okay. Hey,
I'm gonna get you canceled.
Chris wants to say anything to get canceled. He's gonna get canceled one day. I hope not, but I'll be there, bro. I'm gonna let you know if he was wrong.
I got fuck you, man. I don't care if I get canceled.
Okay. It's levels to it.
I mean, it is. Hopefully, I could just partner with some institutions that have my back if the matrix comes for me.
If it makes sense for them, they will. Shoot, you know how that go. But nah, so let's just transition to I know obviously your story too, from transitioning from working at Amazon. You said, right? You was driving at Amazon.
But you want my full backstory?
Go ahead, bro. Let's do it. What we here for?
Villain origin story. All right, so 2016, I got my first job. I worked at Six Flags. And from 2016 2017, I got promoted, and then I was like one of the youngest supervisors, and then I was like 17, managing like a couple locations, and then I got to the point where I was managing like, I want to say like 50 to 60 people, and it was like six or seven locations, give or take, like during like the hiring process, ordering, like supervisors and stuff like that, and I was there for a while. Actually, the only real reason why I stopped working at Six Flags was because of COVID. Actually, COVID was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Facts.
Yeah, so I graduated high school 2018, and I went to college. When I went to college, college was cool, but I felt like it was a scam.
I mean, it is.
I stayed downtown.
You know what you want to do.
I'm about to tell you why it was a scam. I stayed downtown, right? So when I stayed downtown, I think my rent was like $9 something a month.
You wasn't living. It wasn't a campus property.
It was a dorm. No,
Okay.
it wasn't a dorm, but it was a student apartment.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's cheap. Okay, got you.
Yeah. It was like $900 per room.
Makes sense.
So me and my friend would stay with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we stayed with each other at 112. So I was going to school, and like I only was going to school because my folks wanted me to go to school, and I realized majority of people, they only was going to school because their folks wanted them to go to school. Nobody had a real vision where it was like, I wanted to do this. Like their mom told them that they will be a good doctor when they were 6, and then they went to school to be a doctor. And I think that that's the saddest existence that you could live, because at the end of the day, it may not be this year. It may not be when you're 20 or 30 or 40. But eventually, if you went to a career that you did not want to go to just to strictly make money, like, I mean, that's fine and all, but eventually you're going to get tired of the career. You're going to actually want to do what you want to do.
Yeah, passion,
so, yeah, I started looking for like different stuff to do like when I was there. And I had got into a car accident. I actually got hit by the police. So if anybody ever been hit by the police,
I hope you got that check. Nah, you know, black people, every time somebody get hurt, it's like you got that.
I have a question. You think the police officer when the police officer came to give us the ticket or whatever, he dapped the man up, you think he was getting the ticket?
Well, you said when the person like the
person who came, the person who hit me was a police officer. The officer
it wasn't
who
like
came,
a cop car at the time.
It was a cop car.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then the officer who came to tell you,
sure not.
Who you think get the ticket?
Of course, you gonna get the ticket.
You talking about getting the check? What check?
I'm just saying
what
it was
check?
a joke because you know every time something like
I know what you're talking about. I'm saying no. That works when it's not the police. So I got hit by the police officer, and I actually know what's crazy.
You ain't have no lawyers then, huh? Because I would have tried to fight that.
But I got to 2 car accidents in a less than 24-hour period. It's crazy. I felt like my life was at an abyss, right?
That's tough.
So mind you, this is funny. I had an apartment. I had a truck. I had a big ass truck. It was a Suburban. 2 car accidents, right? I'm a full-time student. I had 6 classes. I went to school at 8 a.m. I left school at 5. My last class was at 5. But I only went to school Tuesdays and Thursdays, right?
Okay, makes sense.
I worked at Six Flags. I worked at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I worked at Papa John's at 18 years old. I had 3 jobs.
At the same time, yeah.
Going to school full time. I was like, man, this shit, hey, someone got to give. Yeah. So I needed to go get another car. I needed to get a car. So that was my motivation. I always only get a car. So I was like, I'm going to start a clothing brand. I used to sell candy back in school. I used to make like in middle school, I used to make $50 a day selling candy. So I was like, I want to sell something. So I started a clothing brand, right? So when I started a clothing brand, the first weekend I launched it, I made $800, I think. $800, $900, right? So I was like, this is cool. Then I paid rent. And guess what happened?
Back at 0.
Oh, no, I was at worse than 0 because I had to re-up.
Yeah, true.
So once you have to re-up, so it's like, that's why. The reason I'm in a service-based business now is because I hate products. Because with products is you have overhead, you have to worry about sitting on inventory, you have to worry about getting the right size, the right colors, and all that type of shit. You have to worry about asking singular people, trying to sell them bitches hand to hand on people on Instagram. And I made, $900, but half of that got to go up to re-up. And then you don't even really know the margins back then, right? So it's like, I was like, if I ever start a business again, It's going to be a service-based business.
Well, when you start.
This is 2019 when this happened. Well, it was 2018 going into 2019. So I stopped doing that. Actually, I ended up having to move back in with my parents because they convinced me that it would be smarter instead of paying $900 for that to just get a car and then just to go to school from home. And then when, like, I don't know if anybody ever moved out of their parents' house and then moved back in, they feel like they got you where they want you. It's like a manipulation and a control tactic that just starts to happen. Like, oh, you tried to leave and you had to come back. So it's like,
yeah, I could see that with some people. I know some people that could relate.
Yeah. And my folks, like, they wasn't like overbearing to the point where it's like I couldn't leave and come as I wanted to.
Yeah, and I don't think it's intentional, but you don't see how it could come off. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm past the part where I demonize my parents. I'm in the humanizing phase. I tell you about that.
I know, we talked.
Three stages, yeah. But so I moved back in, right? And then like, I just didn't like it because it's like I just went from having my own stuff, own freedom, being what I consider a man, and now I'm back under this rule. And I didn't like it. And then I was going to school. Then we were going, like me and my dad would go back and forth because he wanted me to stay in school to become a physical therapist. I didn't want to do it. I just was doing it just cause. And then I was just trying to figure out different shit, any way to make money. I got my insurance adjuster license. I dropped out of school. I was trying to get deployed to do catastrophic work.
Deployed as in the military?
No. Independent assurance adjuster.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to do anything to leave school, bro. He ain't like none of that shit, but yeah. So I dropped out of school. Then he'll just always be like, "So what you gonna do? What you gonna do?" He's always like, his biggest thing was he just felt like he'll never be able to give me like money or a handout. The only thing he could do is provide a roof over my head and just
figure the rest out,
not make me pay rent. And he just wants me to be successful. But he was like the time, like he's similar to me, like when it comes down to like control. So he thinks that his way is the best way, and we both have strong personalities. So it's like I know that my way is better than your way, but you may be right because you're only looking at it as a 1 year period. Like it's not like a year.
I'm a bad girl.